Hey guys, welcome to your next video. This one's just a review of the review actually. So you have a test tomorrow, Wednesday the 8th of November, so don't forget that. This should help you study a little bit. We're going to go over like 3 problems from the review, and then I'll give you a little code at the end if you're paying attention closely that'll help you for the test. So let's see number 1. We'll go over number 1. So from the tables, find the slope, y-intercept in the equation of the line. If you still have your review, you can do this with me. If you don't have it, go ahead and write all this down on a piece of paper. So we have to do the change in y over the change in x. So this little triangle means delta, which means change. So how much does y change, and then how much does x change? So y goes from -8 to -5, so that would be 3. And x changes from -10 to -5, that would be 5. So that's our slope, okay? So we just found the slope, which remember is the steepness of the line. So our slope is 3/5. Our y-intercept is wherever x is 0 on this table. So we look down the table and see where x is 0, it's right here. So this is our y-intercept. So y-intercept is b, slope is m, and so when we write the equation, it's y equals m, so 3/5, x plus b. So this b is a -2, so instead of plus, we're actually going to do a -2. So your equation should look like y equals 3/5 x minus 2. All right, then we'll go down to number 2 real quick. So find the slope and y-intercept of each question, then graph the line. So remember the equation, the slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So that's your m, that's your b, that's your x obviously. So then you just plug it in here. So m is 4/5, and remember m is slope, okay? So b is your y-intercept, which is 3. So that's where it crosses the y-axis, okay? So if I was going to go ahead and graph this line, I would start at the y-intercept because I know for a fact that this is going to be a point. So if I were to go here, that's your first point. So now rise over run is how you find slope, right? So this is our rise, and that's our run. So that means up, and this will be over whichever way we have to go. So we're going to go up 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and over 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and this is going to have to make a straight line. So it doesn't look like we can go any further up here, right? So if we can't go any further up, if I'm going to use my little ID as a ruler here, we can't go any further up, but it has to be a straight line. So that must mean the other point's going to have to go down here somewhere. So instead of going up and to the right, I'm going to go down and to the left because it's going to make a straight line. So now I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I will trace the line. Remember, these lines go to the very end, and they have arrows because they never end. Okay? So that's what it should look like. So that's how you graph a equation there. So then the last one we will do will be number 10. So this one was just tough for some of us because we couldn't actually see what it said. So that's definitely understandable why this one would be a little tough because the lines don't show up, which obviously I'm not going to give you a test with no lines on it. So, but we can tell still that there's 2 points here. Okay, and from there we can find the slope. First of all, we know the y-intercept is 2 because that's where it goes through, the y-axis. So we know that at x is 0, y is 2, right? So if we're trying to find the slope, I've got to do rise over run. So I'm going to go up 1, 2, and over 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's up 2 and to the left 4. So when I go to the left, the way I told my class is that we if I have to go to the left, it makes the slope negative. So that's negative 2/4, which we can simplify into 1/2. Okay, because you can divide both top and bottom by 2. So negative 1/2 is our slope, or our m. So, and then to figure out the rest of the points, we could just plug in we can plug in the x values here. So negative 1/2, well, let's actually do 4 here instead of 3. So negative 1/2 times 1 is just 1/2. So negative 1/2 times 1 is just negative 1/2. So negative 1/2 plus 2 would be negative 2.5. So 2 times negative 1/2 would be negative 1. You see, I'm just plugging these x values in where this x is. Plugging in the x values in right here where this x is. So that would be negative 1. And then plus 2 would be positive 1. And then 4 times negative 1/2 would be negative 2. Plus 2 would be 0. So that's all you have to do that. And on the last question at the very end of your test, if you write Mr. Browse is the best with 2 exclamation points, has to has 2. If it doesn't have 2 exclamation points, it's not going to count. If you write that on the bottom of your test, I'll give you an extra 5 points. Bye.